What is up? I'm out finishing my evening chicken chores. That's our mobile coop. That's where they go in the winter. And I've been thinking all day about this video, right? I finally had some time to get out here. And you might be wondering, okay, why am I talking about chickens here? Really, this video, the concept I want to get into is called Death by 1,000 Cuts. And it's very pertinent because guess what today is? It's October 1st. And yes, more crazy shit's happening in the world. You see the stuff with Iran and Israel happening. And I'll get to that in a moment. But I'm making this video because guess what else happened on October 1st? It is now illegal in the United Kingdom to have unregistered chickens. Right? Insane. Can you imagine here in America when they attempt to do that? I have 16 chickens, right? And they produce eggs for my family. We enjoy it every day. And my kids eat it. And it's awesome. And they're grass-fed and they're thriving. And it's good, nutritious food. And in the United Kingdom, it is now against the law to have chickens that are not registered. What does this have to do with the death by 1,000 cuts? So death by 1,000 cuts is a concept, comes originally from China, from what I gather. But it's where you get killed by 1,000 little things. It's 1,000 little things. One little cut, not a big deal, right? You heal. 1,000 of them, you die. So there's these little cuts that keep happening. And we're doing it to ourselves. I'm not making this video to now blame the politicians in the UK or whatever. They fucking asked for it. They voted the people in. Enough people didn't step up and work together on a solution. And when I look at here in America, the shit that's happening, the shit we're allowing, how it's just like a funny meme to talk about Agenda 2030 and 15-minute cities, which is literally coming for our country and all around the world. I'm grateful to live in America. I love it here. I mean, we're one of the last places where, people can organize and coordinate. We have some semblance of democracy here. And, I live out in the country. A lot of us have guns. And it's like, there's a big, constant push in the background. But it's not always just one big thing that's like, oh, this is... Let me find a place to sit so I can really just clarify this. Right? I enjoy my property. I enjoy living here. I enjoy having cool neighbors and people who look out for each other. And it's like, it's this amazing life that my wife and I have created here and the people around me. But it's not good enough because I look at the world and I look at the state of what laws are being passed and I look at the insanity of who people are voting for. And I look at the fact that Iran and Israel are shooting missiles at each other. And it's like, it's all getting in our face. It's slowly but surely all going to come to hit each of us in the face. Now, I work my ass off every day to plan ahead for that. I work my ass off and I'm outspoken and I make videos like this and I share shamelessly about the importance of us working together and us each taking responsibility for our lives. Now, right now, the average person, let's say, even the average person watching a video of mine, there's a battle you face of caring about survival and then actually caring about creating the best reality. Now, I realize everyone has to survive, right? I have to, bills I have to pay here, right? I can't just give my chickens grass all day long. Like, I have to pay for feed. Like, I get it. Survival is a part of life. But if we only focus on survival, this is what happens. It's death by 1,000 cuts. But it's in every moment. It's not these big things. Yes, of course, there are big decisions you have to make in your life. But really, what we're creating is it's little things that add up. And if we're not careful, we are going to keep creating a lot more shit and it's going to get really bad. Like, really bad. You got our politicians here in America saying we have undying, relentless support for Israel. And you got other countries that are saying that what Israel is doing is, an egregious violation of human rights. And it's this whole fucked situation. And I don't take a side with either of the sides. I'm down with what's best for all. what's best for everyone. And that definitely doesn't include war. Sure, self-defense is important, but it's like there's a bunch of nuance I'm not going to get trapped in. I'm not going to pick a side. I'm going to pick what's best for all. Because until we start playing that game consistently and automatically choosing what's best for all and actually having that conversation, both sides, it's like we're eating ourselves. There's like the analogy, I was looking at this the other day. There's a concept in, I don't know, one of the mythologies. I don't know if it's Norse mythology or whatever. It must be Greek. It's called the Ouroboros, and it's that dragon that's eating its own tail. And I was like, man, fuck that. That's so stupid. Why would we eat our own tail? That doesn't make sense. Let's not do that anymore. That's like a symbol of the system. Just being like, hey, destroy yourself. When it's like we don't have to keep playing that game. We're smart enough. We have enough resources. We live in a world of abundance. We have a system that doesn't promote abundance, but it's like you have abundance. You have the ability. Like if you have the ability to watch this video, you have access to the internet, you have access to a bank account, you have enough free time that you can actually sit down and watch this thing for 10 minutes. It's like you have opportunity. That's awesome. Now, what I want to do is help you get connected to all the other thousands of people that I know that are like-minded, that actually give a shit about this and really working on solutions. For example, making sure all of our kids are extremely effective and adaptable because they're about to enter a world with a changing society, landscape, culture, economics, all of these things that are changing at a rapid pace. But then beyond just educating our kids and ourselves to be extremely effective so we can create systems and look at new ways of doing things, beyond that is also looking at taking responsibility for the political situation. I know a lot of you don't want to do that because you're just worried about, making sure you're good with your finances. Okay, sure. Fine. For right now, okay. If that's the level you can think at, okay. But I know you give a shit about seeing a better world. I know deep down you actually care about that. Part of that means rolling our sleeves up and actually looking at the political situation, what's happening. We have a lot of people around the world, not just here in America, but we have a lot of people in Germany. We have people in Paraguay. We have people, obviously, in Canada and Mexico, which is near us. But it's like we have the culture. It's here. We have the culture of people who really care about taking self-responsibility. And then you will have the haters who will say, you can't do that. Who are you to try and change things? It's always going to be this way. It's like, fuck that. I just don't listen to those people anymore. I realized we don't need everybody. Right now, we need 1% and then 10%. And that's what's so cool about this, is there's enough people out there who want to seriously take on this process of really becoming the best version of yourself. But that means not just feeling good. It means rolling up your sleeves and getting involved in the world system, as I call it. And if you're not careful, we're all going to face the death by 1,000 cuts. But at one point, it's going to be one too many cuts, and you're like, oh, this really hurts. This is bad. Like, this is really bad. Some of you have hit that already. Some of you have not hit that yet. But we could also invert it to be life by 1,000 decisions. You know what's fascinating is the word decision means to cut off. If you actually look at the root of it, look it up on Wiktionary. Like, I look at roots of words. Like, I'm very into understanding words because words literally are the creative force behind the world. It's really crazy when you actually start looking at it, of like how I'm just saying words and you're interpreting them. And then you act differently and you behave differently because the words you hear. It's awesome. When you understand where the words come from, it gives you even more power. So the word decide or decision literally comes from to cut off. You cut off the alternative. So if I'm making the decision to work out every day so I can have good health, I am cutting off the alternatives, right? If I'm making the decision to create the best reality, it means I'm going to cut off a lot of alternatives. I'm not going to stay up late mindlessly. I'm not going to scroll for hours on social media. Like, I'm not just going to choose what's comfortable. I'm not just going to choose to, give my kid ice cream all day long, even though that's what he might want to eat. So it's like actively deciding. So you're either going to cut yourself 1,000 little times, right? Or you're going to say, oh, it's the politicians doing it to me, but it's actually us allowing it, right? The politicians are not God. They're not almighty and all powerful. Now, if we're not careful, we're going to automate a system that makes it even harder to make changes. So that's why I make these videos, is to find the real ones who actually give a shit. It's like, again, you might just resonate with the fact that you're like, hey, dude, I want to learn how to make more money and just like have more like financial freedom so I can like even contemplate that stuff. And for some of you, you're like, you know how to make money and you realize deep down you're still not happy because you haven't aligned your purpose with creating the best reality. So that's also why I make these videos. So if you resonate with this, what I want you to really look at is not the big grandiose decisions that you make a couple times a year, but the little things. Breath by breath, what are you doing? Like, in each moment, you're deciding who you are. And I want you to look at that throughout the day and make a note in your phone of like, hey, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, what have I been thinking about? What have I been participating in? Like, what is that? And then as you're going through that, start to notice, where can you actually take on more responsibility? So over time, you'll really start to see as you can align yourself with creating the best, and you can be part of this community that we have with the Self-Perfected group and the people who care about this. It's like you can accumulate way more responsibility, and you start to realize that that is associated with making a lot more money and actually having a lot more happiness, like true happiness, where you're fulfilled at the end of the day. And you look back at the day and you say, wow, I'm actually proud of myself and what I did. Like, that's the life that I'm building for myself, and I can introduce you to a lot of other people who see it the same way. And we have a cool Facebook group, and every Friday we talk about this stuff. We've been doing it for 200 plus weeks. It's like we actually care. And if you resonate with that and you can see the 1,000 cuts every little day, every day there's moments where you're just giving in to the bullshit. That is death by 1,000 cuts. And again, there's these little things you do, and there's the things that the politicians do, like I opened the video with. Like in the UK, they're fucking making people register their birds that they have. Like, at what point are they going to then convert that into some sort of, it's a social credit system. It's really what it is. It's like everything is going to be tracked. And if we're not careful, we're going to automate that for ourselves. Let's not let it get to that point. And you might think, oh, who am I? I'm just one person. I don't know if I can do anything. But it's like, what if you just give in to that thought? Where does that lead you? Versus saying, I can see the common sense of what Mitch is saying. I can see the common sense of the Self-Perfected group, for example, the principles. Creating a reality that's best for everyone instead of this bullshit games where we're just attacking each other and we're attacking ourselves. Let's stop that. We can actually change that. So let's do that. And for those of you who get something out of this, message me. Let's talk. Let's connect. I know a lot of people. I have a lot of connections. Maybe I can help you in what you're trying to do and your next level you're trying to hit. If you find yourself overthinking or you find yourself falling into bad patterns and old habits, reach out to me. There's stuff I've seen that has worked undeniably and extremely well. I can share with you. It's really cool. But you got to want it. It's got to come from you. It's something that you as a being will yourself to do. And so if you can see the common sense of this, let's connect. Otherwise, it's death by 1,000 cuts. But you can make it life with 1,000 decisions. It's the little decisions you make. All right? And one of those decisions is let's connect.